Section champions have been crowned around the state of New Jersey. Our number one team in our TriState poll loses for the second week in a row, and we're down to 4 teams in each group in the New Jersey State Tournament. Welcome to Around the Diamond, your weekly MSU Varsity TriState baseball show. I am your host, Kevin Devaney Jr. We're going to talk about what I just said and a whole lot more on this week's show. We're going to bring in our expert, Gregg Lerner, to talk about some baseball. We talked about number one team in the TriState losing. Last week it was Seton Hall Prep. This week it's Don Bosco. Who's going to be the number one team? We're going to reveal that in our TriState poll later in the show. So we're going to dive into the section championships and bring in our expert, our good friend, Gregg Lerner, who joins us via Skype from Toms River. Greg, yeah, you know, every week it feels like it's the same thing, picking up the pieces from the teams that lose. I think we've had some teams expected to win this section championship, teams not expected. How are things right now as we enter the state tournament, state Final Four?
As I'm listening to you talk about like the revolving door number one, I was thinking what a great idea would have been for me to have like a pinwheel, and I could have spun it just now when it landed on who our number one team would be. It's just the way it's shaking out right now. You know, I think it was evident from the very beginning of the season that parity in the state of New Jersey was very prominent. There weren't teams that were head and shoulders above everybody else. You know, there was no invincible team, and there was a lot of susceptibility. So this is all coming into view right now at the end of the season.
And the team that was our number 2 team last week and kind of peaking at the right time is Roxbury. They win a section championship in the North 1 Group 4 title, beating Bloomfield 5-2. No real surprise with Roxbury winning, especially with Timmy Pulrun on the mound, was there, Greg?
No, not at all. Timmy's just been so solid, so reliable. You know, again, a good pitcher, a very, very good pitcher who has incredible control on his curveball, that enhances his fastball, his velocity. It just increases just because of how well he controls his curveball and his off-speed stuff. But, you know, beyond Timmy, who we talked about a lot, Kev, you know, I think Nick Busby needs to be recognized. The kid's undefeated, you know, a complimentary piece, and that might be insulting to label Nick Busby as such, you know? Yeah. Maybe an equal in that regard. He's 8-0. But what I love about Roxbury is that from top to bottom in their batting order, you can't find a kid that you can say, like, you know what, we can go after this kid, you know? Everybody makes you pay. You know, Sean Lyden at the top sets the tone. Matt Kachowski, who's also a great defensive second baseman, you know, gets on base, moves, you know, Sean along, sets the table, whether it's Joe Magiri, Kyle McCray, Andrew Baltz. And then at the bottom of the order, you know, Steve Lorenz and Kevin Hernandez, Busby himself. They're so deep. They play great defense. They're well coached. And here's the thing, Kev. They set a school record already for wins in a season. They won their first sectional title since 2001, and now they're within reach of maybe winning a state championship. They're very good. Very, very good.
A 4-run second inning in that game. Timmy Pulrun didn't need much more than that, as we said. A 5-2 victory. You know, and that lineup, like you were saying, 7, 8, 9, those are the guys who usually they hit well, the teams win championships, and we saw that. And Timmy Pulrun, the biggest benefactor of that. I feel like every time we've gone to a Roxbury game this year, he's pitched, and I feel like every time we've talked to him afterwards, and we're going to hear from him yet again right now.
It's a great feeling to be out there for my team and help them win. This is something we've been looking forward to all season, especially after we won on Tuesday with a big offensive lift. We felt like coming into this game we felt confident, and the guys played great. We played great defense. We hit the ball. We couldn't ask for anything more. The whole team is a team effort.
You know, you had a couple innings there. You had 8 pitches, 4 pitches. You know, were you thinking, hey, I got the prom tonight. I got to get out of here fast?
No, I wouldn't say that. That was what I was thinking about. You know, I would tell everybody that everyone has a chance to go to prom, but not everyone has the chance to pitch for a state section final. So to be in the position I was in, I'm really happy, and now I can go focus on the prom, and I'll be able to enjoy it now because we won. So.
Great job there by MSU Varsity reporter John Malone to ask about the prom. John Malone tweeted some pictures of some girls very dressed up, a lot of makeup, dresses, and he said they're waiting for their players, for their dates to be done with this game. And great job there by Timmy Pulrun, who, as he said, gets to enjoy the prom, as I did a long time ago, and Greg did so much longer than before that. So, Greg, we're going to bring you back in here with Ramsey. And after I give you a little dig, no chance for a response, we're going to move on to Ramsey now, winning a North 1 Group 2 championship. Timmy Pulrun, the senior, he's made a name for himself this year, and we got 2 more years after this of Tom Feehan. Just tell me about the sophomore and the way he went out there and took control from this one early on.
Kev, he's taken control since the state tournament started. He's 3-0 in the state tournament, and you can't underestimate it's priceless to have a pitcher that you can lean on in the state tournament where intensity and tension and pressure begin to mount. And he's addressed this brilliantly with 3 wins in the state tournament. But beyond that, they've won 6 in a row. A team that's been below the radar, especially in Bergen County, because very top-heavy with the Bergens and the Boscos and the Joes, Indian Hills, Old Japan. We know all the the usual suspects. But I like the fact that right now Ramsey maximizes opportunities. He got 6 hits the other day. A couple walks, a couple errors, but they parlay it into a win. And they get a couple home runs. And I don't know if enough people know about Ashton Barzell, who's he's got like 6-7 home runs, 29 RBIs. He's a kid that obviously you have to fear in the batting order. So Ashton kind of sets the tone, but Pat Mullane gets involved and has a great bat, and I think that anonymity to a degree is so helpful in the state tournament. Like if you're not somebody that everybody knows and recognizes you prominently, I don't know if teams sleep on you or maybe they don't take you as seriously as they should. But here's the news flash: take Ramsey seriously. Whoever sees him from here on out, they're legit.
A great job there, as you said. Pat Mullane hit a 2-run homer early in this game, and it was all the support that Tom Feed needed. 8 strikeouts, a 4-hitter, and Ramsey knocks off Lenape Valley 7-1 in the North 1 Group 2 championship. And moving on to the state tournament, I think this is the final out here. And here we go with the final out of this one. And Ramsey gonna celebrate. I've seen enough dog piles this postseason, and I love watching it. Knock down the pitcher, everyone jump on top. I always wanted to be that kid at the end of it who just jumps up just to be on top of the pile. We're gonna see a lot of that on today's show. If we go through the MSU Varsity highlights, always fun. We talked to Pat Mullane after the game about his early home run, how important it was for Ramsey to get ahead on top early on.
Well, it's always good to jump out to an early lead, especially against this team. We saw throughout the tournament they put out a lot of runs on the board, so it was just a nice relief to get the first 2 on the board. So it was helpful for Thomas especially because he was just able to pitch the game he usually pitches.
You guys score 7 runs in this game, and to be able to do that at this point in the season, what does it say about the offense and you guys as a team and the momentum you can take carrying from this game as you try to go further in the state tournament?
Oh yeah, especially from the second round on, we started, the bat just came alive, and we got Ashton hitting home runs, Matt hitting home runs, Brian went off in the semifinal game. We just have a lot of good hitters, and they came alive at the right time.
So Mullane turning on an inside fastball and crushing that way over the fence in right field for a home run and as we said, a Ramsey win. Now, Greg, you were out at some games this past week. You saw Hamilton. Did you see Hamilton twice this past week?
I did. I saw him against Wall, and then I saw him in what was really an electric atmosphere, Kevin. It's the only way I can describe it. They played Steiner on Friday. Crosstown rivals.
There's so many people at this game.
That was the cool part. People were trying to estimate. It's tough to estimate a crowd at a baseball game.
Yeah.
I heard anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 people were there. I tried to get a shot down the right field line where they were like 3 or 4 deep along the fence. The bleachers were full like an hour before the game with the student body. A lot of energy. And then, Hamilton goes off and pulls out a 4-1 win and with some
Oh, we lost Greg there for a moment, but again,
and Alex.
Sorry, Greg's back. Greg's breaking in and out here, but finish your thought on Hamilton and the win over Steiner.
I was going to say, the very emotional atmosphere. Mike Lazuski and Alex Cruz, the 2 kids who combined on the win, they can be emotional guys, but I thought that was imperative how well they reined in their emotions.
Yes.
Showed it in spots that was positive for the Hornets. And also it should be mentioned that Jerry Gomez got his 100th career hit in that game as well. So, big win for the Hornets over their crosstown rival.
Excellent. And did we see some section champions crowned across the state? And we're now moving on to the state tournament. But just first, other top performances maybe we didn't talk too much about. We don't see video of, just from the state tournament, from the section championships. Anything stand out to you, jump out right away?
Well, I think we're going to talk about Jackson and Milburn shortly and what they've done. But those 2, how about the fact that Rutgers Prep? Okay, here's a team, Rutgers Prep, Rutgers Prep, who has Anthony Bricado, who is one of the best players in New Jersey. And they're a team that's, I want to say they're 11-14 team, but they knocked off Marist, who was number 9 in our poll. And I think, again, sent a message that, they were in the state finals last year, Rutgers Prep. But if my memory serves me right, they won non-public B. So this is a team that I don't know if expectations were as high as they were last year. But again, that experience and having some guys to build around was huge for Rutgers Prep.
And now let's get into the state tournament as we take a look. Now these games are on Tuesday night, so we're quick turnaround for us here at MSU Varsity when we tape our shows. But with Jackson moving on and a team that's, again, they seem to kind of have the momentum going for them right now.
They do. This is the thing, Kev. You ask people down the shore, I think people wrote off Jackson a few weeks back. They were knocked out of the Ocean County tournament. They were knocked out of the Shore Conference tournament relatively early for them. But I think that also gave the players some perspective.
Yeah.
Like, hey, listen, you lose games this time of season, and your year is over rather quickly. So I give the Jaguars a lot of credit. They regrouped. Brandon Janoski, a junior right-hander who's undefeated. He's hit a home run in each of the last 3 games, including an inside-the-park home run. I don't remember if we spoke about Nick Babin last week, but their game against East Brunswick, he goes 3 for 4 with 3 homers and 8 RBIs. They're getting great pitching from Janoski and Mac Marino. And Jackson, I'll tell you, in Frank Malta's tenure at Jackson, the program is very well respected. They play a tough schedule. I don't think they expect anything less than than playing at this time of the year, which they are doing. And I think they're very dangerous. They're going to get Eastern in the state semifinal, and the winner of that team will play. The winner of that game will get the winner of Milburn and Roxbury.
I think the game of the day on Tuesday though has to be that Milburn Roxbury game. I mean, is that the game you're kind of had the most focus on?
It's certainly one of them. I think that Bergen Catholic and St. Joe's will definitely have a debate in terms of how relative they are in that discussion of the best game or the most anticipated game. But Milburn Roxbury definitely, because Kev, you remember Milburn was in our poll for quite a while.
Yeah.
And then late in the season they lost in the Greater Newark tournament early, and the losses were mounting a little bit for the Millers. And I wanted to hold them in as long as I could in the top 15 because I was really truly a firm believer in how good they are, and they're proving that now. They have a wealth of Division I senior-laden talent. So those are the type of things that you relish, you want at this time of the season. So to have a kid like Evie Rubal, who's going to Notre Dame, or David Tapilar, who's going to Duke on the mound, and Milo Freeman at shortstop with a great glove and a good bat, and he's going to Rutgers. Nick Mio and Aiden Favia, the list is endless. I'm telling you, Milburn is legit. They're dangerous. And Roxbury's going to be on full alert. Listen, Greg Trotter knows how good Milburn is. They're going to be fully prepared for him. But this game could be a phenomenal game because that's how good Milburn is.
And I don't want to bury the lead too much here. We're kind of far into the show to talk about our number 1 team in the Tri-State poll. Don Bosco moves into that number 1 spot last week, and then they're going to get booted right out with the loss to Bergen Catholic. Is this a disappointing finish for Bosco? Is this just a good team kind of running into a rival and another good team? What do you kind of chalk that game up to, Bergen Catholic beating Bosco?
Well, first of all, I chalk it up to Bergen Catholic Bosco. That's the first element in this thing. When any of those teams up there, the parochial schools, whether it's Joe's, Bosco, Bergen, all bets are off. I don't think it was a disappointment at all for Don Bosco. Come on, man, they won the Bergen County tournament, so that's not a little feather in your cap. That's a huge feather in your cap. And to do it by running through Bergen Catholic and St. Joe's, and running that gauntlet that the Bergen County tournament provides, that's pretty special for Don Bosco. And they're a young team. They're a young team, Kev. They got a lot of kids coming back, and I don't want to say they arrived ahead of schedule because Mike Rooney's a phenomenal coach who always has his team prepared and doesn't make excuses.
Yeah.
So I think there was a pretty fruitful season for Don Bosco. No doubt about it.
Definitely, Bergen Catholic, just, as you said, they took both games in the regular season, lost in the county tournament. I just felt like you put 2 teams in the field together enough, and they're going to beat each other, and Bergen really wins the game that matters the most. This is highlights from the regular season matchup. A game Bergen obviously won as well. So, again, Bergen and Bosco, this is why making the poll is so difficult, but we're going to try and sort this out later in the show, who our new number 1 team in the Tri-State poll is. They have some other games to play, that being Bergen, and we're going to take a look at the schedule for the non-public championships. Here you see the non-public A. These are the semifinals or section finals. You have St. Joe's taking on Bergen Catholic in a matchup of two of the top 5 teams in the Tri-State poll from last week. St. John Vianney taking on Gloucester Catholic. And then in the non-public B, in North Jersey, Hudson Catholic, St. Mary's Rutherford. And then you have Rutgers Prep, who Greg just talked about, against St. Joe's. And, Greg, when you look at these matchups, any one of these jump out to you, that St. Joe's Bergen matchup? I mean, is that, as we said, I maybe said Roxbury matchup was the game of the day, but that Bergen game is pretty good to see each other again for St. Joe's.
Those two programs live to play big games against each other, so I would expect that game to probably match whatever hype is going to be built up around it. Mm-hmm. But the Hudson Catholic St. Mary's game is another game that's very interesting. We've had St. Mary's in our poll for a while now, and they're pretty established. But Hudson Catholic, man, it's another team that in Hudson County, it was Marist, it was St. Peter's all year, and I don't think Hudson Catholic was getting enough recognition, perhaps for what they were capable of. But they've used the state tournament to enlighten everybody what they're capable of. So I think that's a good game. Come on, Kev. We're talking about state semifinals.
I know, they're all good.
Parochial sectional final. They're not bad games. None of them are bad games because anybody that's in there is good enough to get there.
Can I put you on the spot before I let you go? We're going to say goodbye to Greg right now. We're going to show you the schedule for the state tournament semifinals. Can I put you on the spot? If you had to pick a group 4 and a group 3...
No, you can't put me on the spot.
Yeah, I really asked. I wasn't really asking. I'm going to make you do this right now. Look at the schedule and give me, who do you think emerges as your state champions in New Jersey?
All right. Let's see. In group 4, I like the winner of Roxbury-Milburn perhaps getting that. So I'm going to go with Roxbury.
Okay.
Group 3, I'm telling you right now, the defending champion Cranford is not a team to be taken lightly. They are not in our top 15. They were in it briefly this year.
Yeah.
Dennis McCaffrey does a wonderful job. Mount Olive has been playing very well, so that's another great game today, Kev. Mount Olive and Cranford.
Okay.
Group 2, I like Bernards. I've liked Bernards since the start of the season for that championship. Group 1 is probably the team to beat is Pennsville, Kev, the team from South Jersey. Okay. But they're going to get a great test today. I'm telling you right now, if Pennsville's not careful against Shore Regional today, they could be making a very surprising exit. Non-public A, I think Gloucester Catholic is still the team to beat if I had to put a label on a favorite. And then in South Jersey B, in non-public B, I think St. Mary's of Rutherford has made a very strong case as the favorite in that one. So those are the teams that I would probably lean to if I had to pick a state championship. If some guy just put me on the spot randomly today and answered that question.
Greg, excellent job. Enjoy the baseball, and we'll see you next week.
All right, buddy. Take care, man.
And now on to our Tri-State baseball poll, and a lot of the same from last week. A new number 1 will be crowned here in a couple moments, and a lot of new teams at the bottom of the poll. No surprises. It's been that way all season long, so we're going to jump right in to our number 20 team. Yes, not ranked last week, but a county champion for the second year in a row, that being Massapequa, winning a Nassau Class AA championship at 17-7. This is a team that started 0-3. They were 3-5 at one point, and they have been on an absolute tear since the middle of April, number 20. Our number 19 team is Mount Olive, your Group 3 semifinalists. They're going to take on Cranford on Tuesday to try and get to the next round of the state tournament. Number 18 from New York City, that being Malloy. They have earned a spot in Friday's Catholic Championship from the winner's bracket in the double elimination tournament. They're going to take on either St. Xaverian or St. Joe's by the Sea. Only have to win one of those games to be crowned Catholic League champions. They've been the best team in the Catholic League all season long. Number 17, Bayport Blue Point, Suffolk Class A champions for the second year in a row, knocking off Shore and Wading River. They're going to play for a Long Island championship. Actually, last year's Class A state champions. The best team I saw all of last year was Bayport Blue Point, and they are now 3 wins away from a state title for the second straight season. And I'm going to get through this. Hunterdon Central is your number 16 team from New Jersey, 21-4. Their season is over. They lost in the early rounds of the New Jersey State Tournament. Now to the next page. Our number 15 team is Hamilton. They won a Central Group 3 title, knocking off Wall in the semifinals and Steiners in the championship. They enter our poll for the first time. Our number 14 team, a team that lost in the Catholic Championship for Nassau and Suffolk, that being Chaminade. They're our number 14 team. At 13, Fairfield Prep, a little of a late season stumble for them, 18-4, lost to Xavier in the SCC Championship. They now move on to the state tournament. They're going to face Amity, the defending champions from Class LL in Connecticut, in the second round matchup. Very tough early round matchup for them. Our number 12 team is St. Mary's of Rutherford, 23-5. The non-public B semis on tap on Tuesday for St. Mary's of Rutherford, which moves up 8 spots with a couple of big wins over the past week. Our number 11 team, Division, your Nassau Class A champions, really going to set up a unbelievable matchup on Saturday for the Long Island Championship between Division and Bayport. That game, again, is on Saturday for the right to go to Binghamton in the state tournament in New York State. I think Division and Bayport might be the game of the weekend. I was talking to my guy, Eddie Margulies, our producer here at MSG Varsity. He said that's the game I'm looking most forward to of all in the LICs. Now our top 10 teams, and we'll start with number 10, and that being your Long Island Catholic champions, St. John the Baptist. Their season is over at 23-5. Our number 9 team is our Suffolk Class AA champions from Long Island, and that being West Islip at 20-5, moving up 2 spots. Your Section 1 Class AA champs, Ketchum, is our number 8 team, moving up 1 spot. Terrific performance by them to beat Arlington in the semifinals, and then Fox Lane in the Section 1 championship. They move on to the state tournament this Friday as well. Our number 7 team, they spent most of the year, is our number 1 team, and that being Seton Hall Prep. Their season is over at 25-3. Number 6 is Westfield from New Jersey, 20-4 overall. Now we flip the page and go to our top 5 teams in the Tri-State, getting closer to crowning our new number 1. And we'll go to first. We'll start with number 5. Last week's number 1 team, Don Bosco, 19-9, no shame. Their season ending on a loss in the non-public playoffs in North Jersey Class A, and that being to Bergen Catholic. They're the number 5 team is Don Bosco. Number 4, Poly Prep, your New York State Independent School champions at 21-3, 4th year in a row. They win that title. They stay at the number 4 spot. Number 3, Bergen Catholic, coming off that big win over Don Bosco, the rivals. They're moving closer to a state championship, moving up 2 spots, 21-4 overall. Our number 2 team, the team that Don Bosco is Bergen Catholic is going to face in the state playoffs, that being St. Joe's Regional, 23-5. And our new number 1 team, Roxbury, they're Group 4 contenders. They're in the state semifinals, moving up that 1 spot to 24-7. The first public school team we've had in our number 1 spot in the poll. Roxbury has certainly earned it. And we are moving on now. Is Roxbury going to stay our number 1 team in the Tri-State to the end? It's going to be tough for them. They have 2 games left to win a New Jersey State title. I want to thank everyone for tuning in this week's show. I want to thank the guys in the control room, thank our producers, and thank you as well. We'll see you next week on Around the Diamond, our MSG Varsity Tri-State Baseball show, getting closer to the state finals.